Thank you very much to PRB and our IOPSA and for allowing us to have this platform. This whole lockdown thing has been a learning curve for all of us. I'm currently sitting in Rustenburg. We have been working flat out on projects. The animals here haven't been fed. There's obviously no tourists, so they becoming pretty aggressive. So I've been fighting monkeys out of this place this morning, but let's get on. So yeah, we're going to talk about pipe condition assessment and rehabilitation. So we've been trying to figure out what lockdown's going to do, and one thing's for sure is that we've seen it's made remote working more popular. We know for a fact that globalization is being reduced, and there's a massive focus on taking care of existing infrastructure because people just don't have the money to keep on putting in new infrastructure all the time. One thing's for sure is we're going to import less and work from our homes more. This is a chart that it might be a bit too small for you guys, but what we've noticed is there's a 380% increase in trenchless pipe rehabilitation worldwide. It's $5 billion in the US by 2025, and it's surpassed all other industries. Trenchless pipe rehabilitation has really become one of the fastest growing industries, faster than solar. And it's equaling out on the energy fight at the moment because the age of infrastructure worldwide is at the perfect age to be rehabilitated. And you look on the bottom right-hand side, it says pipes with less than 18-inch diameter. That'll be 450 millimeters. And I said to myself, who am I talking to? And this is going to be plumbers that we're talking to. So we're going to focus on small diameter pipes for today's discussion. The new corporate headquarters, I think for maybe 10 or 20% is going to be our homes. So you're going to find at least 20% of companies or 20% of people are going to figure out that they can actually work from home. So with our downgrade, imports have become expensive and people are working from home. We believe that products manufactured in South Africa for export and products for the home, being our new corporate headquarters, would be a target for a lot of us. Although everybody wants to go and do corporate work, but I think there's a strong increase in domestic work as well. Let's make South Africa great. We're here to stay. We're not immigrating. And the way we're going to do it is by increasing our manufacturing, because all of us, well, not all of our stuff, a lot of our stuff is made in South Africa. And we've realized that that is one way so that we don't have to have these heavy import costs. This is a chart that I'm going to go through with you guys and ladies. Top left-hand corner is inspection protocols. The right-hand side is once you've done your inspection, are you actually working to a standard? The bottom right-hand side is most of us have developed apps for quality control, and are you actually using your apps for quality control now that we're all working from home and everyone's gone digital? And then the bottom left-hand corner, excuse me, is have you done a post-work inspection chart? And I'll take you through it as we go through the slides. And this is just a bit of an introduction as to what our philosophy is for the rest of 2020 to really get this running in the country. So the first slide, the green circle is a pipeline assessment certification. The orange circle is a manhole assessment certification. The blue circle would be for people that are engineers or maybe PRB inspectors or people that want to know how to inspect trenchless jobs. And the yellow circle at the bottom is laterals, or as we call them, junctions in South Africa. there are 76 million junctions in the States, and they've got a 15-person team just writing specifications. These are actual qualifications that you guys can do, and a lot of them have become virtual now, that you can actually get online, and we'll help you to do that, because we've become facilitators together with NASCO, because we saw that there was a major need to standardize inspections. The next step is, if you're going to do pipe rehabilitation, you need to choose a standard. Are you going to align yourself to ASTM, or the German, or the French, or the British, or the Australian, or the New Zealand? And you'll find that most people in South Africa and most engineers subscribe to ASTM standards. And then, do you have quality controls, and are you choosing the right materials? And these apps are so cool because they just help you to record everything on site. And have you done a post lining to a standard? Because the ASTM standards force you to do a proper report. I mean, how many times have people done lining or have done a pipe repair, and then people come back and complain? But because they're not doing the post report and the pressure testing as per ASTM, they have to go back and do a free call out just to prove that their work is fine. These sort of things will help you not to have those call outs again and again and again and again. But ladies and gentlemen, patch repairs is not the single biggest market, but it's where most of us began. We began here. We started with doing patch repairs, and that's why I want to focus on patch repairs in this discussion, because patch repairs are so easy to do, and that's where you can capitalize on your ability to survive post lockdown. Do you just chop or excavate or demolish, or do you plumb in a short piece of repair pipe with a coupling, either potable or drain? The trenchless patch option, you've got 3 options if you want to start patching. Number 1, you can do a 2-component. Component is the German K. It means you have an A and a B component, like Pratley putty. You mix the 2 together, and you use the old-fashioned method of putting a bladder in. And you can do these from a patch the size of your fist, the size of your cell phone, up to a 5-meter patch. But you know, most guys just do a 0.5 meter patch, and that'll be a 2K ambient system. The second type of patch you could do is a steam cure, and I'm going to show you some videos on steam curing. And then the third type of patch is a 1K. It's pre-impregnated. It's a UV cure with a bladder, and that'll take 10 minutes most time with that sort of a patch. ProCanal is a German company that I met a few years ago in Nuremberg. We've been searching. We went all over the world searching for the best, and all of us want the most cost-effective solution that is quick, non-disruptive, and we want to get it right first time. And when we met ProCanal, we met the guy in the middle. His name is Dieter, and the guy with the glasses and the red shirt, that's his son Sebastian. These Germans came here to South Africa. This is at Rocco Mama's. I can't wait to have a Rocco Mama's burger and a beer again. And these guys came here, and they've been helping us to develop systems together with NewFlow, because we realized that if we put the Germans together with the NewFlow guys, the German technology could take the Americans to the next level. And we're always faithful to NewFlow. And now that the 2 of them have teamed up together and we're all one happy family, we're able to supply a hybrid system with a blessing of both of our principals. So traditionally, NewFlow used to do just pull in place, and they've been pretty good at doing T pieces. And we've finally now, only last year, started to really get good with multiple T's. But we did this marketing for IFAT, and IFAT was cancelled because of lockdown. But we weren't allowed to put the actor in there because this is stolen from Star Wars. So we put Uncle Dieter's. Dieter's in 76 years old, and he's really been the master of UV, and he really has taken us over to the light side. And we're pretty excited about curing with UV patches in 10 minutes. So New Flow took the German technology and they took it one step further, because, you know, Americans, they've always got to try and outbeat everyone, you know Americans. So this is a T packer. So you'd put that T piece bladder in and you'd inflate it with a UV patch, and literally, guys, 10 minutes you're fixing T pieces. 10 minutes. That's a 10-minute repair. And Uncle Dieter started this in 1972, and he's just kept on blessing us all the time. These guys love South Africa. The Americans took Uncle Dieter's invention and they Americanized it, and they made it really commercially viable, because Americans are good at marketing and they're great at R&D. So they signed an agreement with ProCanal, and they're now producing these. So this picture is false because, and I thought I'll just throw it in there, that when you do UV curing, you can't have a pigment in the resin, and you'll always recognize a UV cured liner. It'll stand out. And the reason why this picture is false is that your liner actually has to be translucent. It has to be able to let the UV light wave of 400 nanometers actually pregnate the liner, because you've got a UV cook-off that actually happens when the 400 nanometers hits that liner. So we supply these UV light trains. That'll be a 10-meter light train if you wanted to go and do 10 meters. And I'm going to play this video for you because it explains a little bit about the packer. So you'll see where hopefully you can see at the bottom, there's a UV packer lying at the front of the vehicle. I'll just push play so that the video can play. Our entry level to the UV pipe repair is a 30-meter cable. The cable and the air hose are in one. So electricity and air both run together. So when you push the button on, the UV light turns on, and the compressor, which connects onto here, is inflating the packer. And once you've wrapped your liner, so you would take a scissors and cut this liner, and you'd put a piece over there, and you'd tape it, not too tight. You'd inflate the packer, put it obviously into position. It's got a very nice lead out, and I've shoved this thing into various dirty, soft pipes. The pipes need to be clean before you push this thing in. And then you can go around 90s, and we've got various lengths of these packers. So this is like an entry-level system, not for 100-meter runs. This is just for pipe repairs. Very quick, in and out, nice. Not much equipment to take around to site. You don't need a lot of people to do, and you can get off site quick. Drinking water patches and sewer. But potable under pressure, you'd probably have to do the whole line. Sewer you could patch easily. Yeah, so, you know, patching jobs, instead of going to dig up a site, you could get in and out really fast. 10 minutes, it's going to cure. We're pretty amped about that. So what Uncle Dieter did is he made these little trolleys that you can put in the back of your bakkie, and you've got a whole little inbuilt compressor there. You've got the different size packers. We supply the resin pre-impregnated, so there's no mixing on site. And that's the beauty of UV, is when you want it to cure, you turn the light on. The ball in the front helps you get around 90s. Obviously hard 90s like pressure pipes are difficult. So more for sewer pipes where you've got a long radius bend, these balls are pretty cool with a nice spring to help you get around 90s. Remember, these guys have been doing this since the 70s. They've been UV curing for 15 years. This is Uncle Dieter's patented 90-degree packer. It's got a super cool inflation radius specifically to get wrinkles out of bends. I'm going to play you this little video on steam curing, because UV is one thing to do, but you've got to have the ability to steam. You can't only UV. So we've found that not everybody has got a UV light train, or it might take a while for everyone to get UV, but to do normal epoxy curing, steam cure actually gives you a higher chemical resistance, and it gives you a higher temperature resistance. It also makes your liner really strong doing a steam cure. This little steam unit here will do 15 meters of 4-inch pipe. So it's for contractors that are just doing small little. By the way, it takes 7 liters of water, and the little black that's where you fill it. And then on the front, there's a reservoir gauge. So 7 liters of water, you can do 10 meters of liner, 4-inch house connections. And you want a lightweight unit that's really quick. If you're doing slightly bigger ones, you've got steam and hot water, but the axles are really close to each other, so you can spin this thing around in a ticky. You can get in the back of a bucky, and you could really do some serious steam work or cure with hot water when the baby unit isn't sufficing. Steam is the way to go. Call us for a demo. So steam is the way to go, but UV is faster. But not every single application is good for UV. So you've got to choose the right weapon for the right fight. So we found, I'm a little bit cheeky in this video here. If you look on the left-hand side, the doors have got a lot of cleaning stuff. This was taken in Cape Town. We did a presentation at the Lord Charles. So please forgive my cheekiness. I'm just asking questions, but seriously, if you're going to start patching, you need primary bonding. And in order to have primary bonding, you have to scour the pipe, because you don't want a patch to come loose, and you want your patch you need to have a proper etching and your anchor tooth. So when you look at the stuff on the door for cleaning, guys that do pipelining take cleaning to a different level. People that don't rehabilitate pipes, they just want to get the water to flow, and there's a far higher level of cleaning when you do pipe rehabilitation. Please excuse my cheekiness in the way that I present this video. So let's see what I may help you with. You may not be into big pipe crawlers. You may not be into medium ones. You may not even be into small 90mm ones for 4-inch pipes with various wheels. You may possibly be into push camlers. You maybe you're not into pipe rehabilitation and really cleaning. These blades eject out of here when the centrifugal force pushes them out. They're hidden in there. But if you're not into jetting nozzles that rotate or cleaning stuff, you may possibly be into really small little pipe plugs. But if you're not into teeny weeny ones, you may be into big ones. I don't know. Do you need location equipment? We've got some cool new little reels. They're really pretty, and they're small, and they rotate, and they're neat. But what I like is the ability to turn a light on and patch repair. So I go through the patch repair for the second time, and there's no need to bore you with that because you've seen the video the first time. So let's see what... This is just purely out of interest. It's a robotic cutter. You can see on the workshop table the patch repair kit there, because the guys were doing patches, and the guy with the white hair is from Denmark, giving training to the guys from Cape Town on robotically reinstating. So when you line, a lot of the time you line over junctions, and the chap with a cap on, his name is Luane, and on the screen you can see a robotic cutter, so you can robotically, surgically cut out. We hire everything out with operators, so if you needed a robot or you needed a crawler, you needed something, once we see that you're good at it, then we'll let it go without the operator. But in the beginning, you're always going to get an operator.
More turn.
You can get absolute precision with these machines. The Danish make the best robots. Training on how to cut open all sorts of angles. That's the mini T cutter. These are really cool for 4-inch pipes, for 2-inch pipes. That blue cutter comes in a 9-meter cable. All you need is a compressor to drive it, but you must watch out that you don't have wet air going in there. You want to cut out rebar. You want to get out concrete out of pipes. You want to do stuff that other people have to dig for. This stuff is the berries. You just take a shorter head, a different type of milling head. Get these cones
grinder blades to cut out rebar concrete. Those guys over there are just about to invert 3-inch pipes around 3 90-degree bends. Watch this. So they're going to go one.
So that's Sebastian from Pro Canal, and the guy standing with the pink shirt is Dad Dieter. We get so much support from these guys. We love these oaks.
90 by Sebastian, and then it's going to go past that junction, which will open up, and then we're going to do another 2 90-degree bends there. And this is really amazing technology. 3 90-degree bends on a 3-inch pipe, and then you have to robotically open up each one of these meticulously.
So we hire these out, like I said, first with an operator, and then once we're confident and you've paid your deposits and you're authorized, you can take it without an operator. Here's some more steam curing. You'd love to come and have a demo on steam curing or check it out.
We have another 12 students coming, and the guys are learning how to steam with how many CFM it uses to run, silent compressors, how to control the flow rate, how to invert. Check, he's got a temperature gun in his hand. One controls air, one steam, go around 90-degree bends. At the training, these are small inversion drums. The guys are using a medium steamer and with a different type of compressor. A bit later in the day, they're going to progress and they're going to be able to do these ones here. Then on the training, you'll do 390s in the next video. I'm going to show you the vertical stacks that you're going to line.
So if anyone's come to our training center, you'll see that we've got multi-story stacks built up. We've gone up to 3 stories now. We do underwater curing as well. So we currently now in Rustenburg shooting this line. I'm sitting now in Rustenburg at the accommodation, and we practiced at our facility. And this line is going in tonight. Like tonight, this is happening. You can see how slowly it's coming out. We've got plenty control.
A 500mm calibration hose that's being inverted in the rain. Delivery is coming. So we would have used that big compressor, but we just want to test it. I think what we'll probably do is just keep a small compressor, but you don't need speed. These big compressors are too big. So little baby Kaiser.
Yeah, those little Kaisers are unbelievable, man. Those Kaisers, you can do so much with them. Once you get the right air and understand the relationship between the air, it just helps you so much. You don't need massive compressors. Now, here is one of our partners in Durban. Now, watch how fast this thing shoots out. It's completely opposite to the control. This is called a sluice. And the guy with this guy here with his head to us, he was murdered in October last year, shot in the stomach. We give David Wade all the credit. He helped us to launch New Flow, and we really miss David. And this is an interesting product. It's the thinnest, strongest line in the world. So what actually happens is the liner has a 16% shrinkage. And you'll notice that I get quite excited about the liner shrinking back because it's woven in a longitudinal fashion. You can always guarantee the client you're going to have a minimum pressure rating, because this liner is used for pressure pipes for potable. You'll see just now potable repairs. And you've got less control using the sluice because you saw how quickly it shot out. But there's huge advantages of using a sluice. Look at it getting shorter. It'll get shorter. It was, yeah. Look at it getting shorter. Look at it getting shorter. Look at the liner getting shorter. So this is that's actually our patent. There's no other line in the world that gets shorter as it expands. The other liners with different colors, you'll notice we won't mention them on this webinar, but they actually get longer, like a children's balloon at a party. It gets weaker, but this one gets shorter, and you have to compensate. That is why it's the thinnest, strongest line in the world. We're supplying little patch kits. So for those of you who want to get into this business, start patching, man. There's just so much money to be made. Patching, patching, patching. Stop digging. Now, here's the deal. If you go up against a guy that's got good quality control and he knows how to do a report, do you know why the roots get in, or you just keep on unblocking pipes? Do you do a camera inspection on every single drain or pipeline? These 40 meters are our best sellers. The 60 meters is the best value for money because it's got a much thicker cable and it's just right sized for lining. The 120 meters got the best reach. And there's a bit of a debate going on. You know, do you buy a camera like a Rigid or a Minicam or one of the European products, or do you go Chinese? You know, all cameras break, and the European and American ones break less, but there's a massive premium that you're going to pay. The cool thing about these, they've all got onboard software. So come do the maths, check out which one is the best for you. I mean, we know that it's always easier to go for the cheap ones, and that's, I suppose, what after lockdown people are just going to watch every single penny. Crawlers, we rent these out as well. We've got a rental fleet of crawlers. We'll rent them out to you. There's all the software, and this is what's cool, is that you can use this WinCam software on a Chinese cam, and it's all about the reporting. If you can report correctly, it suddenly puts you in a league of your own, because now you are able to do an engineering report to show the client how much life is left in their pipes. Skids are very important. You need to centralize the camera. Cleaning is everything. These are our jetting nozzles exclusive to us. So whether you've got small jets or big jets, we do hoses, pumps. You want to build your own jetter, we'll help you. We're pretty new to the jetting building. There's far bigger companies than us, and we don't do trucks. We're only doing trailers and small ones. But I tell you one thing, you're going to get a serious power pack in a small jetter. We've done things that we haven't seen done in South Africa, and everything's made in South Africa. Without some form of plugs, you ain't working in rehab. You're not working in rehab unless you're plugging, and you know everything about plugging. You're not bypassing. You're not doing any sort of work without a plug, just like a cardiologist. Concrete penetrating radar. We've got Derek Leskowitz, top Polish guy. He's now naturalized, a South African. We've got a fleet of radars that we rent out almost on a daily basis. We've got multiple radars that we rent out. Our utility location training program is quite good. This is our facility. And here you can see Denzel. talking to the chap about how to use the locator. If you really want to get to know what's going on, you need to start locating. Utility location's big. Our Stetaphone's probably the best seller for potable diagnostics. We've got training courses that we do at our facility. The T10 is the commercial level leak detection device from Severin. The A50 is a backpack version of it. It's been just put into a backpack. The AC200, not sure how many of you got the guts to go and spend this sort of money after lockdown. I think everyone's just trying to use what you've got to get through everything. Hey, we're just showing you this. The X-Tech Snooper is definitely affordable. I think that would be, if you're worried about, you know, spending money and you want to get into diagnostics. Veritek is top of the range gas detector in the world. It's got a semiconductor sensor and a thermal conductivity, whereas the previous one's only got a semiconductor. We do all of our own repairs in Johannesburg. Our technicians have flown to Gütersloh with the factory. We do, this is an old-fashioned reel. We don't do these reels anymore. It's big and bulky and heavy. We've got new, cool little lightweight ones, half the size, and they're even cheaper. Fluorescent dye testing. I tell you, the guys in Durban buy so much of this stuff, and it comes with a little light. When you're looking for a leak, it actually glows. You know, you need a darkness to let it glow. Smoke testing, hire these out as well. You want to find odor, smells, and problems in building, you got to get into smoke testing. Moisture testing, fantastic. If you're doing inside jobs, inside buildings. Hearn used to work for us. He's a good guy. He's gone on his own now. We really like Hearn. You can do a 1 to 5 day leak detection course. You can get the latest tracer gas, and you can do a bit more of a comprehensive course if you want to do municipality or municipal commercial leak detection. Tommy, good guy. He was with us for many years. 1 to 5 day utility location course. We do ground penetrating radar, electromagnetic. These are big items. These take a while to do. Terminology, the alternative location techniques, the energizing target line, the receiver modes, electromagnetic field shape. And then these ones we can go through like in a couple of hours for the course. So I'm quite excited about launching the AquaP. And I've probably spoken to about 30 of you. Well, maybe not you that are here, but I've spoken to about 30 guys. And the AquaP was launched in South Africa. And unfortunately, everybody that spoke to me had very bad experiences. So I went to Michael Quinn. I said, dude, there's a problem here in South Africa. The guys just didn't get the training. So we're relaunching it. It's an incredible product. It's flying off the shelves in the UK, in the States, and Australia. And we now realize, because we've had the training, sorry, I just sneezed. So watch the video, but we're not going to sell it to you without training. We absolutely refuse to sell it without training. This is a cool little product. So it's like 2 little balls of putty that you mix together, you pop it in the pipe, and it seals the leak.
The AquaP actively seeks leaks by being allowed to free swim through the pipe, drawn by the force of escaping water. The AquaP itself has been formulated by several years of research. We have a patent pending for the application and use of the product that is now RAS approved. We have been testing at our purpose-built facility in Durham and out in the field under many different conditions using various pipe materials, including copper, lead, polyethylene, on pipe sizes from 15 millimeters to 90 millimeters with great success. And we're currently working on larger diameter mains. The AquaP has been stress tested against 30 litres of water per minute, based on an average household use of 450 litres per day. That equates to 8 years of continuous use. And the AquaP remains firmly in place.
So don't even think of using it without training, because otherwise we're going to have the same problems we had previously. Now, my mate did launch it originally, hell of a nice guy, really like Mornay, huge respect for him, honest man, good businessman. And I just think they were unlucky that they just didn't go overseas and get the training and bring it back. We take training exceptionally seriously. If you want to do this product, it's awesome because you don't have to have all the massive lining equipment and reline entire bathrooms and reline whole things. There's no license agreement. You just buy the thing and you use it. But we're going to force you to practice at our facility, or we're going to have to practice at your facility. But unless we practice together, we're not doing business, because I think it'll just mess up the relationship, and we want to stay friends. Life is got enough challenges. We don't need more. So best practice, guys. And as we're wrapping up, I've got another 10 minutes to just wrap up before we go Q&A. So we need to be upskilled, all of us, and we've been working absolutely flat out to be upskilled. And I need to ask you which direction, and I need to look in the mirror, and I must say to myself, Dion, what am I going to do post-lockdown? And how am I going to work in this country with growing unemployment? We know that we're going to have massive unemployment. And I need your help as well. And are we just going to be like sheep? But we are in the pipe industry, right? And how many new competitors and customers will this result for you and for me? I mean, we know that SAA and Telkom and a lot of plumbing companies I've spoken to have reduced salaries. How many of these guys are going to go and start their own websites? And are we going to have a lot more competition from people that have decided to leave their employers? What is going to happen? So when I ask myself that, I say, well, when I'm quoting against somebody, or if I was you, if I was quoting against somebody to fix this problem, what will give me the best possible option of closing the deal? And does post-lockdown involve unblocking drains? If the answer is yes, do you guarantee your work? How can you guarantee an unblocked drain if you haven't put a camera in it and looked? I mean, you'd be silly to warranty something. And do you repair drains, or do you give it to other people? Are we familiar with only excavation, or do we understand trenchless options too? Do you want to start doing just small little patches? Do you enjoy working in South Africa? Like my mom says, Dion, stop complaining about the country, or get out and go and immigrate to Australia with the rest of the family. So I've decided to stay. If you're a professional working to local and international standards, do you have multiple pipe rehab options in your arsenal? Do you reroute? Do you clamp? Do you do new sections of pipe? Do you install a pump? Or do you do green trenchless technology as an option? Best practice: assess the pipe issue, record the data, specify the rehab tech, quality control, future maintenance. And I've seen from the salesman's quote or the customer's expectation to what actually happens on site, many times there's this massive chasm. And even if we're only doing a simple emergency patch to repair, we need to learn the value of recording pipe and site data. And if you've taken nothing from this presentation, take this, because the guys that have got the best ability to communicate, the guys and the girls that can communicate, will get the deal. There's thousands of kilometers of both potable and sewer. Don't take this the wrong way, guys, but go stick your head in some pipe. This is from the American Concrete Pipe Association. So think about talking to us about doing a pipeline assessment certification program. You can get an American international qualification. It's a North American standard for pipeline defect identification and assessment, providing standardization and consistency to the methods in which pipeline conditions are identified, evaluated, and managed. The lateral, can you believe it? 76 million junctions have to be relined in the States. They've got 15 people making laws just about this, or developing these courses. This is a manhole assessment certification. You should be rehabilitating manholes, not only pipes. We are now resin coating manholes, making it stronger than steel and concrete with resins. This is the inspector training certification program. And if you'd like to become an inspector, the NASCO Inspector Training and Certification Program is a standard national training and certification program that provides field construction professionals consulting and municipal engineers, contractors with comprehensive learning and tools to understand and inspect trenchless pipe renewal. NASCO currently offers this program for cure-in-place and manual rehabilitation. Attendees who successfully complete the training will receive 1.35, that's like our CPD points that you guys are getting for this, and you'll also get an interactive software program. This is an international standard. You want to know about certifying and looking inside pipes. This is the way to do it. But why standardization on pipes? You tell me. You know how many times I've said to a guy, and he says, the bottom of the pipe is stiffened, or the top of the pipe has a crack, but they're not using international standard terminology. They're just randomly saying the pipe is collapsed. You know how many times I've heard the pipe is collapsed? I'm gutful of hearing the pipe's collapsed. Use the correct terminology that the world uses. What is the top of the pipe called? It's called the obvert, or the crown. What's the bottom of the pipe called? I wish I could hear the answers. It's called the invert. If you have a heart attack, what is a cardiologist called a heart attack? They call it a myocardial infarction. There's no ways your medical aid is going to pay out for myocardial infarction if you call it hartaanval. You've got to use the correct term. Why shouldn't we as professionals use the correct term? So this is a WinCan report. You can even input the data from a Chinese camera. If you see, each one has got a code, and the guys start to understand codes for roots and joints and circumferential cracks. And they start to understand that you can simply use the clock face to describe where the observation is. So if your problem is at the top of the pipe at 12 o'clock, you can say 12 o'clock. If it's on the left-hand side, you can say 9 o'clock. And all software worldwide uses the clock face. You want to call yourself a pipe professional, get the qualification, do it online, and start reporting properly. Knowledge is power. Who's the customer going to trust? The plumber that says the pipe is broken somewhere but not sure, you must dig up, or the plumber who emails a PDF off-site from his smartphone with the exact location and a report. Let me tell you, there's Zimbabweans operating in South Africa that are sending PDFs from their smartphones with software. You try and going up against them. And I'm not bad-mouthing Zimbabweans. I'm just saying, you know, immigrant hustle is something, you know, South Africans sometimes get a bit chilled, and these guys are tech savvy. You're competing now. It's post-lockdown almost soon. A couple of days, we're out there. Here's a first example, longitudinal crack. And this is all taken from the Concrete Pipe Association. And there's a whole thing on plastic pipes, how to do checks on HDPE, how to do checks on polyvinyl chloride, how do you do checks on galvanized. This is just concrete because it's like sort of just easy. So if you're using a crack matrix and you're saying there's a crack at the invert at 6 o'clock and 12 o'clock, suddenly, if you're not in the know of things, you don't know what the engineer is talking about because you're talking in international terminology. Do you understand where the stress zones are? Can you help the client give a lifespan of the pipe? I mean, this crack is not a structural durability issue if only found at the invert or the obvert. But if it's found on the sides, let me tell you, you go with Uncle Alistair. You go. We were working at one of the sewage treatment plants, and he said to me, my boy, look at these cracks on your video report. And he actually said to me, he told me that the ground was running at an angle just by looking at the cracks. When you get an experienced guy looking at stuff, sure, start understanding what you're looking at. Circumferential cracks, you can start telling people if they're backfilling, because sometimes you shouldn't even realign. If there's certain patterns that you see, you can't realign. And you need to know the difference between a circumferential and a longitudinal crack. So, you know, longitudinal cracks will tell you one thing and circumferential cracks will tell you another thing. I love learning every day of my life. Are you an inspection star? Did you even know that there was a thing called a star crack? I love learning. I'm so hungry for knowledge. Material quality, before you start doing patches, because if you guys want to start getting into patches, do you do epoxy, do you polyester, do you vinyl ester? Which one should I use? Well, guys, the answer for patching is always epoxy. It just has to be. There's very little shrinkage on epoxy. You shouldn't be patching with cheap and nasty polyester and vinyl esters. There's a place for them. I'm not saying don't use them. I'm just saying you want to patch with epoxy. And are you able to predict the lifespan of an asset? Do you know how to report? Because can you tell the client? I tell you, during lockdown, you must see how many people have been relining. It's going mad. People want to look after the assets. They only want to repair a certain section. They're not replacing the entire line. There's no more money in the country to replace entire lines. You've got to only repair what has to be repaired now. And it's your duty and my duty as the professional to tell them where, how, and what. Okay, so we're at the end of it. This is a potable line, and then we'll start with questions. So what you see here is a Ranger coupling. You can call it a clam flex. You can call it whatever you want. And we're quite proud of this because South Africans are quite ingenuitive, if that's a word. We come up with ways to get around things that the rest of the world does. So the actual liner still has to be dressed. You can see all of those loose fibers there by the end of the Ranger coupling. And now that whole thing has to be dressed. So please don't judge us on that ugly fibers. Let's play you a quick video. National Prosecuting Authority at the other side of the pipe. The liner actually got pulled and stretched over. So what we'll do is put the clam flex coupling like that. We'll clamp over here. So you'll have no possible chance of a leak. Job done. Really impressed with this new liner. It's good. So just remember, when you're doing patching on potable, it's completely different to patching on drain. See inside, we've stretched the liner back over about 180 millimeters back. And then we've got the rubber for the Johnson Viking that'll actually clamp on the inside termination. So there is no possible way that the liner can delaminate and you can get migration of water. You've got to use a push camera that has never been pushed in a sewer before, and now we're going to chlorinate it and dose it and clean it because our grubby paws have made it a bit, you know, ugly. And that's it. Each layer of glass reinforced gives you an extra 10 bar pressure. So we've got a 3-layer liner. Little steam unit was used to cure it. And this cannon, or you could call it a master gun, was used to invert it. And the water can be switched on, tested to 24 bar, and job's done. Potable lining. You've got to stretch that back over. You do not leave your liner in your termination points. You must pull it over and do a proper compression fitting on the outside for the warranty. It's our customer, our licensee, mobile leak detection. So now, not only do these guys do leak detection, but they do lining. Stanley, you're going to do this yourself now, I hope. Good. I know you will. Yeah, thank you for your time. I've enjoyed presenting, and yeah, if there's any questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pohorio, for this informative session. There are just 2 questions. So the first question is, do you first have to remove roots before repairing pipe?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're giving the client a 50-year life expectancy on that liner. And if you don't remove the roots, you're going to line over those roots, and you're going to reduce the internal diameter. And if you are allowing to go to ASTM, and that's why it's so important that people get trained. And we've seen that if you don't follow ASTM, it's got a minimal circumferential opening that you need to give a warranty and to comply with ASTM. 100%, you have to remove the roots first.
Okay, and then the next question is with regards to the Aqua P. Won't it cause turbulence? We had a webinar where you need to clean the pipe and it was said any bumps will cause turbulence and this will cause abrasion.
Absolutely, it's a very, very, very good point. So you're going to have a small little tiny bump inside there, and turbulence is always an issue. So whoever said that in the webinar was 100% correct. Remember that the Aquapee is designed for the right size hole, and you get multiple sizes of Aquapees. If you choose the wrong Aquapee for the wrong size hole, you're going to have too much resin sitting inside the pipe. That's why guys have had failures, is that they haven't done a flow rate test to figure out what's the size of the crack or the hole. So if you size the Aquapee to the hole correctly, then you're going to be able to have the minimal amount of excess product. And excess product in relining is always a problem, because the three things in gravity that dictate the flow rate is, number one, circumference. You decrease the circumference of a pipe, you've got problems. Number two, in gravity, it's the invert. And number three, it's the roughness. So obviously you wouldn't have the invert in the potable, and this is a potable product. So you've got to right size the Aquapee. And when you're doing your flow rate tests on the Aquapee, what you do is you actually make a little loop. You do your tracing of the pipe and you install the Aquapee at the closest point to where the leak is, and you pressurize it. And on the training, the guys will see how to minimize that bump. A very, 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 very good question about the Aquapee bump.
Okay, thank you very much for that. I see we've got quite a lot of positive feedback from the attendees. I just want to read out this one. Really enjoyed this session. Keen to look into lining for my company. Where can we get in touch?
So on the next slide is my details. And if anyone sends me an email or gives me a call, yeah, this is my life. Pipes. I've been doing this for 30 years now. It's all I know is pipes, 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 pipes. I live, breathe, and drink pipes. That's all I've been doing for my adult life. So yeah, they must give me a shot, and we'd love to partner with people. And just the lesson here to me and to everyone is to start small. Just take small little steps.
Yeah, I see there is just one more question that just came in with regards to the Aquapee. What if there is 2 or more holes? Let's say if it is concealed, how would you know what size to use?
So the flow rate on your test rig, and that's why if you're not checking your flow rates of how big your leak is, you're going to give the wrong size Aquapee. So it's the diagnostics. Think about this. Before a doctor's going to do any sort of operation on you, he's going to first do the diagnostics. That's the problem with us pipeline professionals, is we're not doing the diagnostics. If you check how big your leak is and you check what your flow rate is. So if you've got, flow rate testing is everything. When I'm doing diagnostics on sewer pipes and I do flow rate testing, I've got so many videos to show everyone. It's just not enough time. But if you, on the Aquapee, if you've got, because we've got 2 little water meters, 2 digital water meters on our little test bench, and we can either supply you one from the UK, or you can build your own one locally. And we encourage guys to build their own one. Go to your plumbing supply and you buy yourself 2 water meters, and the water that's going in is going to give you X amount of flow rate. So let's say this is a big job, and you've got 1 cube an hour going in, but you've got 0.8 of a cube of an hour coming out. That means you've lost 2.2 of a cube between the in and the out. Well, in your case, it's only going to be like small little 15 more pipes or 22 more pipes, and you're going to be doing it on a small scale. So you're going to know what your loss is, and you're going to right size the Aquapee. And when you start enjoying diagnostics and you're able to report and articulate to the client, sir, ma'am, here's your water loss. This is my next step. just like a doctor would. We're going to try this sort of chemo, and then we're going to try that, and we're going to see how your body reacts. And if they can see you're a professional, people are cool, man. They can see that you take this seriously. But if you're just going to drop the bloody thing in and just give whatever diagnostics you are without doing the check, well, then you deserve to fail, because you're not a professional. So it's all about doing this calmly, taking a breath. And that's why we have so much fun in training. Training is fun, man. It's lekker, because you're learning new skills, and you're identifying that, yes, I'm not going to be able to use the equipe for every job. And I've got, luckily, in my weapons, in my vehicle, I can go and chop if I have to. And the client, if you tell them that it's a very high likelihood of this prescription that you're giving to the patient will work, man, the satisfaction of seeing the patient be healed through you as the professional is cool. And it's all about the diagnostics. That's why we will not sell a single equipe to a single person in South Africa unless we know that they've played with it and they've seen the limitations. It's to know your limitations, not a get-rich-quick scheme. None of this lining is get-rich-quick scheme.
Okay, perfect. And I see we've got another comment here from one of the attendees. The comment is, what an enthusiastic, energetic, and enjoyable presentation. Good job. So thank you very much for that, Dion. Is there anything you would like to add before I end off?
No, not really. It's just that, if you can make it through this time, I believe that we're going to get pretty busy after lockdown. I've noticed that all 14 of our major customers have been buying quite a lot of stuff. That tells me that lining is happening, and that tells me that the world is looking to more cost-effective ways. And because it's now, the prices have come down dramatically. I mean, we're charging less than half of what we charged in 2012. It's just because, the market changes, and you also realize you can't charge what you used to charge. It's just survival now, and we're just grateful that there's work still going on. And the good news is that I think that we're in a place where we can flourish. And I'm just grateful that I had the opportunity to talk to fellow professionals, and looking forward to communicate with everyone. And I need to learn as well, and I need your feedback as well. We need to know what the market wants, and we're learning every single day. I love learning, and thank you for this opportunity.